What happened to Tom and Gisele? I don't know them. I don't know their marriage. But as you may have heard, because it's all over the news, at least the sports news, Tom Brady and Gisele, his supermodel wife, divorced last week, or their divorce became final. What I want to do is not be critical of them. I don't know their story, but I do know that Gisele has made a couple of public statements that give us insight into what's going on, and we can use her statements as a warning for us so that we don't make the same mistakes and get the same results. Hey, thanks for joining me on the Wade Arnold podcast today. I am your host, Wade Arnold. I am a psychologist, a pastor, and a coach, and I am looking forward to spending the next few moments with you. Hey, while you're here, before we move on to the content of today's podcast, please take a moment to like, to share, to comment, to follow me on whatever platform you might be watching this, so that we can spread the word about God's plan for marriage so that you can have a happy, a healthy, and a holy marriage. So let me start with this first quote that comes from Gisele, and I'll put it on the screen so you can see it as well. And it says, "The decision to end a marriage is never easy, but we have grown apart, and while it is, of course, difficult to go through something like this, I feel blessed for the time we had together and only wish the best for Tom always." Now, that sounds really good. I think that's great that they were able to split up amicably, because if they're going to split up, it might as well be amicable as opposed to World War III. But here's the thing that I want you to notice in what she said. What she said was, "We have grown apart." Let me tell you something about growing apart. Growing apart is a choice. Growing apart is the choice that couples make, just as it is a choice that couples make to grow together. You have one or the other. It just doesn't happen that one day you wake up and you don't uh, share the same piece of land and the property. We've grown apart. We're no longer in the same soil. It's not like a plant can uproot itself and go somewhere else. The choice to grow together is one that couples make. Now, years ago, I had a friend whose brother and wife had gotten divorced, and they had been married 25 years. And they had gotten their last child through college, and they woke up one morning and the husband looked across the breakfast table to his wife and said, "I don't even know who you are." And it surprised everyone because they seemed to be a functional couple, and they were. They were able to get their kids educated, they were able to get their kids grown into adulthood, and when it came to the task of co-parenting, they were very good. But in that task, they did not prioritize their relationship, and so they grew apart. But that was a choice that they made, because they could have made different choices along the way. They could have chosen to spend more time together. They could have chosen to share their lives with one another. They could have shared their hopes and dreams, their stressors, all these things they could have chosen to do, but they didn't. And so, while, yes, that couple and Tom and Gisele grew apart, it wasn't something that just jumped on them one day and forced them or put a wedge between them. No, it was a choice. And it is a choice. When couples say that they grow apart, they have chosen to grow apart. Now, are there rare circumstances, unusual circumstances, where it appears that one couple or one part of the couple, either the husband or the wife, just loses their mind? Yeah, I have encountered situations where all of a sudden something happens with the husband or the wife and they are not the same person. Yes, that happens. That's a very small percentage of the time. Most of the time, when couples say that they grow apart, they've chosen to grow apart And many times they don't know how to make the choice to grow together. And so that's part of what I do when I coach couples is I help them to engage in behaviors and adopt the attitudes that they need in order to grow together as a couple. So, growing apart is a choice. Growing together is a choice. As couples who want to have happy, healthy, holy marriages that last for a lifetime, we have to make the choice to grow together. So the second quote is on the, the Today Show's Instagram feed, and it says this, again, from Gisele. She says, with much gratitude for our time together, Tom and I have amicably finalized our divorce. My priority has always been and will continue to be our children, whom I love with all my heart. We will continue to co-parent to give them the love, care, and attention that they greatly deserve. Now, again, I will think this is a wonderful statement. It's better to separate amicably than not amicably, to make it very difficult for one another and to try to make one another as miserable as possible. Here's the thing, and where Tom and Gisele went wrong, according to their own words, and where we can go wrong as well. She says, and again, I'm quoting this from the Today Show Instagram page. It says, my priority has always been and will continue to be our children, whom I love with all my heart. Now listen, I believe 100% we need to love our children, right? I mean, that goes without saying, but there's some internet troll out there who will be critical of my statement that what I'm about to say and say, oh, Wade said that we shouldn't leave our children. That's, of course, if I have an internet troll, because if you're looking at my YouTube channel, I think about 3 people will see this, but that's okay. Maybe in a few years, people will look back on this and I'll have more than 3. That'd be awesome. So here's what she said. My priority has always been and will always continue to be our children. This is a mistake that people make. They prioritize their children over their relationship with their husband or with their wife. If we are going to live happy, healthy, holy lives with our mate, with our husband, with our wife, then we have to prioritize that relationship above everything else. It will not survive being in second or third or fourth or further down the road in our priority list. We must prioritize our wife or our husband. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't love our children. We should, but our love for them should not take priority over our love and the time and the communication and the energy and the effort that we put into our marriage. We must absolutely prioritize our marriage if we are going to live that happy, healthy, holy marriage that we all want to live. I admire Tom and Gisele for their desire to continue to co-parent and to raise their children in the best possible situation that they possibly can. I am happy about that. But one of the things that contributed to the downfall of their marriage, it seems to be from this quote, is that they prioritize their children above their marriage. You and I, if we are going to have happy, healthy, holy marriages, must prioritize our marriage relationship. Nothing else can come before my wife or your husband. We must make them our number one priority. So, what's the take-home message for today? Well, number one, we must invest in our marriages every single day. If we are not intentionally growing together, then we are by default growing apart. The stresses and strains of everyday life, our children, our jobs, and in-laws, and everybody else will come between our spouse and us if we are not careful. We must be intentional if we are going to live happy, healthy, holy lives and marriages. And the second thing is, we very simply have to place our wife or our husband in the first place of our list of priorities. Yes, we love our children. We love our families. We love our friends. We love. But our first love, after God, our first earthly love is our spouse. There's no other place that our spouse can be if we want to honor God in our marriage. We must honor God first, and we must honor our spouse second. So that's my hope, my prayer for each one of you that's watching my podcast today. I would love to be able to talk with you about your marriage. If you're struggling, let me know, and we can work together so that you can again live a happy, healthy, holy marriage. God bless you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.